This guide will show you my top 20 best base locations on the new Ark Survival Ascended Valguero map. I will give you map and GPS coordinates and landmarks to help you easily find each spot. I've got everything from solo starter base locations to base spots for massive alpha tribes. I will show you some of the most beautiful building spots for serious builders and the best PVE base locations for resources. I'll also show you some of the most unraidable PvP base locations and hidden rat holes on the map. You can use the chapters to skip around the video, but if you watch the whole thing, you are sure to find the perfect home that will make your new Valguero Ascended adventures so much more fun. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. Let's start with 3 of the best starting base locations, including this brand new castle. You just need one wall to block off the main gate, and this entire courtyard and structure are all yours to build in. There's actually 2 stories in this building here and a 3rd story on top, and tons of space to build and spread out. On the back, we have a pre-built dock, which gives you a great spot to launch rafts all over this lake and gives you access to the entire map really easily by raft. Now over here is a little island attached to it, and it is all herbivores that spawn here. You've got all the resources you need early game, including these tree stumps, which you can hit with a pickaxe and get all of the tree sap you could possibly need right on day 1. So the exact location of this castle is at 51.638, but let me show you another amazing base spot right next to it. So if we just go right across the water, we'll find these waterfalls and these red trees, and right next to that we are in a hobbit village. At exactly 57.734.7 is one of the 2 hobbit holes. You can just put one door right there, and then the entire area here is all yours to build in. And check this out, you don't even need foundations in here, so you can move right in, build one wall, and your entire place is ready for you to move into. And then if we go across the river, across this little bridge, there's another fake hobbit hole. It doesn't actually go anywhere. And then a little more to the right, we have this one, which is almost identical and also has tons of space to build in. Now these are actually very viable PvP rat holes for a solo player because you've got one tiny choke point to defend. This one is at 55.733.9. And before we're done here, let me show you an amazing resource for starting out, because right to the left of these huge stone archways is this canyon, which has like 10-15 metal deposits right here. And the exact location of this is 61.340.8. And if you spawn in the first spawn zone on the list in the small islands, it's going to put you either on this island or somewhere along one of these shorelines, and you can start right out in one of these amazing base spots. This is one of the absolute best new base locations on Valguero Ascended. Check this out. This cave is brand new with the map remake, and there is a ton of room in here. It's got really cool lighting. This water source is actually big enough to breed mosas comfortably, and there is a ton of space back here. This is ideal for a PvP or PvE alpha tribe. Even though this entrance is a very large entrance to defend, there is only one entrance to this area. And check this out, if you want to hide some stuff and have an incredibly difficult rat hole to raid, there's a spot up here that you basically can't even see until you're right on top of it. There it is. And this area has a tiny choke point and lots of space actually to hide quite a lot of stuff up here. So this is an ideal base spot no matter what your playstyle is, and the chalk hills nearby have tons of resources. First off though, the entrance here is at 83.6, 80.8, and once you find this little valley that's got a big overhang, that's what you're looking for. Now from this base, if you look up towards the mountains, there's this big lake, and just to the left of this lake, right next door, is one of the richest metal deposits in all of Valguero, and it's covered in Deinonychus for their awesome eggs. This is right at 91.5, 78.7 on your doorstep. I'll show you 3 amazing base locations back to back because they all share all of the same resources and they have so many good resources nearby. But first off, this is one of the biggest PvP Alpha Tribe cave base locations in the entire map, and it's gotten a really nice overhaul and it is so cool in here. There's metal scattered around, lots of water inside, and only 2 really well hidden entrances to defend. So this is going to be one of the best possible PvP based locations in the entire map, and it's great for PvE too. But check this out, we're actually directly below the castle. It's just incredibly hard to find the entrance here. So let me show you exactly how to find this. I'm going to start on top of the castle at about 37.9, 90.6, and to the left of the castle you'll see this really bright lighter colored tree. If you get right on top of that and line up directly with the green ob and then head straight over the edge here, you're going to find this opening to the canyon right there. Drop down into the canyon, and until you're right on top of it, you can't see the entrance at exactly 40.190. So now let me show you this PvE castle, because this is one of the best PvE base locations in all of Valguero. It's got an incredible view and tons of good resources nearby. The top is totally flat for building, and it's got a big area to build right here, and then underneath is a ton of space with 3 full stories to build in, and he's a little TLC. I don't think it's quite built to code, but it's got some really cool storage rooms that go down into another entrance down there, and lots of cool features, including a water tap can go right in here, and you've got water in the entire castle. So on top of this castle being awesome, there's another really great builder base location right here. This is one of the most beautiful scenic base spots. It's right next to the castle. We are at exactly 34.6, 88.5, and aside from a really scenic building spot, this is one of the best metal locations nearby. It is a cave absolutely full of metal and obsidian. It's actually viable to live in here too if you're a really small solo tribe. But then there's another amazing resource right up here. This is actually the entrance to the Aberration part of the map, and right up here is this waterfall that's absolutely loaded with metal, and right here are organic polymer plants. Yeah, so this is at 30.6, 94.1, and if that isn't good enough, all of these bases have access to tons of crystal, obsidian, and metal on all of these plateaus nearby. Basically every plateau is loaded with some good resource all around all 3 of these base locations. This epic castle in the Redwoods is one of the coolest new additions to Valguero Ascended. It's got just one drawbridge that you need to put a gate on, and then the entire rest of the castle is totally secure and ready for you to move right in. Unlike most of the ruins on this map, it's actually in such good condition, it's ready for you to put structures on without even putting down foundations. Just make sure to call pest control before you move in, because there are going to be some natives in here. But there's a lot of different watchtowers and different rooms you can build in, and it's got some really cool features, and I'm sure you guys could do some really awesome stuff with the building here. The trees nearby, only some of them can take tree platforms. The nearest ones cannot. Further away they can. You've got a pretty decent amount of crystal and probably like 10 metal nodes scattered around the bottom of the castle, and a nice ramp leading down to them. And a lot of good features, but the biggest problem I see is getting running water into your castle, because that's probably going to be your water source way down there. Other than that, this is an awesome base spot right here at 76.2, 49.1. We're looking directly at one of the best PvP base locations in all of Valguero. It's got a tiny choke point which actually goes in water, so it'll dismount flyers, and it opens up into this huge cavern. This is big enough for a mid-sized PvP tribe, and there's tons of metal back in here. Very flat for building and a lot of space to build around, but look at all of these areas you could hide turrets, and it's got a tiny choke point leading up to it. To make things even better, That's Greenob right there. We're directly under Greenob, far enough away to build on official, but close enough to make things real convenient. I hardly need to give you the coordinates, but the exact entrance is 47.7, 75.9, but, you know, find the Greenob and just look for the waterfalls underneath it. Now this castle is in great condition and it's a great location for resources. I'll show you that in a second, but the location here is 33.621. You've got a nice courtyard that's walled in, and this has actually got a pretty decent amount of area inside to build in. It's bigger on the inside, but what I love about this location is there is tons of good resources right next to it. So right over here is a huge lake that's actually full of beavers and the giant beaver dam right at 39.9, 14.1. Most of these hills are loaded with metal, crystal, all that good stuff. And then over here on each of these mountain peaks, there's tons of metal just kind of spread out around there, lots of crystal, some nice scenic area to build up here too if you like that, over at 36.5, 27.6. This is one of the most breathtaking building spots in all of Ark. Builders are going to love the incredibly flat area around these falls, and this island is very flat too. There are just so many good building options all around here, and builders are going to have so much fun being creative around this area. There's also a lot of metal right down here, up here on that mountain back there, and if you're playing PvE, you can just drop a wall across one of these flat plateaus and have all of this building area as a nice air base too. And we're actually right next to a huge cave back there in the distance. So tons of good options in this area, right here at 76.9, 83.2. We've got another really cool ruined city with a nice Greek vibe to it, and there's actually a lot of space to build in this ruined temple right here. It's got multiple floors you could play with and, you know, just kind of renovate that. It's got an incredible view, and you're actually right near some of the best resources in the entire map. There's actually a cool cave over there, and this plateau has a lot of space to build on. So if you've got a big PvE alpha tribe, you could spread out over this entire plateau and just block off a couple of entrances here, over here, and these bridges, and then the entire plateau is yours to build on. You've also got this cool plateau over here that's linked to by bridges over here, and there's a water source down in the bottom, and lots of Deinonychus nearby and other good resources everywhere around here. So it's just a really awesome place to build. The exact location here is 8388.3. If you want to live in this beautiful castle just inside the Redwood Forest, but actually relatively safe for the Redwoods, this is a great spot with lots of pre-built walls. You got a water source right next to you, and a pretty good sized new cave that you can build in. And that cave actually reaches back pretty far and gives you a pretty decent sized chamber to build in back here. So you could do a lot by rebuilding this ruin. The exact location is at 60.5, 10.1, and just to the left here on top of these red hills is a ton of metal. Like, it takes a minute because it's spread out, but there's some there, tons of crystal, more metal, more obsidian, and the metal just keeps stretching all the way back all over these hills. Everywhere you can see, there is just loads of metal. So this is one of the best metal locations in the entire Valguero map, and it's right around your base, but just far enough away that you're not going to block the spawns by building it. Now this base location is not super well hidden, but it is kind of off on the corner of the map, but check out this huge cave. It just opens up into this massive flat cavern with tons of space to build, so there's plenty of space for a large alpha PvP tribe, and only one entrance to defend right here. But it is a very big entrance, and it's not exactly super well hidden. You can spot it pretty well. You do have a lot of obsidian outside, you got a water source right next to your base, and loads of crystal. But as we go a little further up this mountain is absolutely covered in metal, obsidian, and crystal. It's an amazing resource spot, but you share that with anyone living in this castle right nearby. So Consider all of those things before building in this base spot, but if you want to build here, the exact location is 48.7, 9.7. Let me know in the comments if you would build here as a PvP player. These waterfalls hide an incredible, huge base location, and let me show you the coordinates, 34.3, 9.9, before we go inside, because there's a lot to unpack here. There's one main opening here, and this cave looks way cooler on the new Valguero Ascended map. It is absolutely loaded with crystal and metal and plenty of space to build a huge base back here. It's great for anything from an alpha PVE tribe to solo player who wants to get tons of resources. But if you want to try this for PvP, it's got one big issue, and that is right here. This cave opens up into the absolutely massive underground ocean. There's a whole ocean down here, and there are ways to get into this base from your floor, and there's a lot of space down there for people to raid you. So it's a pretty well-known cave. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for PvP, but let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. These ruins give you some of the best views on Valguero, and they've got some incredible resources nearby, but it's a great builder spot if you want a lot of flat area to build in the middle here. A lot of cool stuff you could do with that. If you've got an alpha PvE tribe, this entire plateau is a great spot to spread out, and you've got a lot of metal right on your doorstep. You've also got a cool little chamber down here where you can put a storage area over here, and you've got a porch with a really nice view of those cherry trees across there. So got some cool features on this base spot. The location here is 40.6, 67.3, and let me show you a really amazing resource over here. This mountain is absolutely covered in metal and crystal as far as you can see, but you actually have a hidden pearl location right here at the base of these cherry trees. There's a bunch of silica pearls that spawn right here in easy grabbing distance from your house, and the pearls are right at 45.7, 64.8. Now this may not be the best hidden cave, especially now that it glows purple from the new crystals inside, but this cave is loaded with oil, like all the oil you could possibly ever need, and then much more. There's even oil nodes you could hook an oil pump to and just constantly produce ridiculous amounts of oil. But aside from being a great spot for an oil baron to live, you actually have a lot of space for a good-sized tribe to spread out in here, and there is only one entrance right here to block off and keep safe. But as you can see, it's a pretty big opening and it's not super well hidden. So let me know in the comments if you would build here as a PvP tribe. The location is at 48.7, 19.6. You do have a water source right above you because I wouldn't recommend drinking that oil. But right behind that is that massive amount of metal, obsidian, and crystal on that mountain next to the Redwoods Castle. If you want an amazing base for gathering resources, this little pre-built castle is actually pretty great. It's very small, not enough room for a ton of stuff, but just one good wall here, and you are all set to harvest all of the beaver dams you could ever want. This lake is absolutely loaded with beavers, and there is tons of metal, crystal, obsidian all over these plateaus right around it. So if you bring a good flyer, you can load yourself up with all the metal you could possibly need all around that lake and get tons of crystal and other good stuff, and it's right next to Green Ob. The exact location here is at 52.9, 72.7. We're looking directly at one of the most OP Ratholes in Valguero. Check this out. So this thing actually opens up into a really large cavern, but it's a relatively small choke point and pretty hard to get back in here. And then it opens up into all of this space back in this huge cave. So PvP players could defend this real easily. It's big enough for an alpha tribe, but it is almost impossible to find this spot. So in order to find it, you're going to come into this big chamber, look for this plateau right here around 39.4, 67.1. Look to your right, and there's this little shelf with all these mushrooms on it, and that is the exact location of this opening right here at 43.6, 62.3. Now this is not the most hidden spot, but you do have to be right on top of it to find the entrance to this snow temple right here. And it's actually got some pretty good merit as a PvP base because we've got just one choke point to defend and a pretty good amount of area to spread out and build inside here. And it's actually pretty well defensible as a PvP tribe, maybe a mid-size, but it's also great for PvE because we've got tons of resources out here. Just this whole area is littered with oil nodes that you can put an oil pump on, regular oil rocks, obsidian, and metal, just absolutely everywhere out here. There's probably 50 of each nodes, but the exact entrance is right at 14.7, 60.2, and you're looking for this little rock outcropping and then this little canyon that goes down into the middle there. If you're looking for an incredibly well-hidden PvP rat hole where somebody's going to have a real hard time even looking for you, check this out. There's actually a decent amount of space here in this little nook in the ceiling, but you have to be right on top of it to be able to see it, and it's almost impossible to find, mostly because anyone looking is going to be chased by fire wyverns the entire time back here. But if you would prefer to deal with the lava and fire wyverns than other PvP players, might be worth a shot to live up there. The exact location is 12.5, 80.9. You're looking for these waterfalls, and it's up in the ceiling to the top right of those. Somewhere back in there. You'll have to look around for a bit to even find it. But there's another spot that's much easier to find, which also could be a potential for defending in PvP, because once again, wyverns are going to be messing with anyone attacking you. So this land bridge right here has an entrance above and below it. I'm right at 8.6, 75.1, and this is actually a very long tunnel with two entrances to defend, but you know, could be worth a shot for any PvP players who just really want to be left alone and have major problems for anyone trying to raid you. I've actually got tons more amazing base locations to show you, and I'll be making more separate guides that focus on just the best PvP or PvE base locations on Valguero, so keep an eye out for those other base guides and more Valguero resource guides coming soon. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if it helped you, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for all notifications so you don't miss my other helpful map guides coming very soon. Please drop a comment and let me know which of these base locations you live in on your own Valguero adventures. And if you know of any other awesome base locations, I'd love if you share their coordinates in the comments, and I'll check them out for future guides. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.